The airport was freezing. Not because of the weather alone, but because of the way my husband, Daniel, looked at me before walking away. He stood beside the departure gate with his expensive suitcase, checking his watch as if every second I breathed was wasting his time. "I'm done waiting for you to become someone," he said coldly. I blinked, thinking I had misheard. What do you mean?" He sighed dramatically. "I've accepted the promotion in London. You were supposed to handle everything here, but you're too emotional, too dependent. I don't need that anymore." The words crashed into me harder than the icy wind blowing through the airport entrance. I grabbed his sleeve. "So, you're leaving? Just like that?" He gently removed my hand as though touching me disgusted him. "I've already transferred some money to your account. You'll survive." Then he smiled. Not at me. At a young woman waiting beside the boarding line. She walked over confidently, slipped her arm around his, and kissed his cheek. "I thought she already knew," the woman laughed. Daniel shrugged. "Now she does." I couldn't breathe. For 3 years I had cooked his meals, supported his career, cared for his sick mother, ignored every insult because I believed marriage meant standing together during difficult times. And now, he was replacing me before the divorce papers even existed. The boarding announcement echoed through the terminal. Without another glance, Daniel walked away beside the woman. I watched until they disappeared. No goodbye. No apology. Nothing. Only the sound of my own heartbeat. I sat alone for hours. My phone battery died. The airport slowly emptied. Families reunited. Children laughed. Couples hugged. Meanwhile, I stared at the empty runway wondering how someone could erase a marriage in less than 5 minutes. My wallet held barely enough cash for a taxi. When I finally reached our house after midnight, every room felt colder than the airport. Half of Daniel's clothes were gone. His office shelves were empty. Even our wedding picture had disappeared. Only one person remained. Maria. Our elderly housemaid. She had worked for Daniel's family for nearly 20 years. She rushed toward me, her worried eyes already filled with tears. "Madam, he really left?" I nodded. She hugged me without saying another word. That silent embrace was warmer than anything my husband had given me in months. The next morning, I expected Maria to leave too. After all, Daniel paid her salary. Instead, she served breakfast exactly as always. "I still work for this house," she smiled softly. "And you're still its heart." I almost cried. Days passed. No calls. No messages. No explanation. Daniel acted online as if he had started a perfect new life. Pictures in expensive restaurants. Luxury hotels. Smiles that had never been meant for me. Then something unexpected happened. A lawyer arrived. He handed me divorce papers. Along with a message. Sign quietly. Don't embarrass yourself. I stared at the signature. Daniel hadn't even written my name. Just my former wife. That night I finally broke. Not because I still loved him, but because I finally understood. To him, I had never been a partner. Only furniture he no longer wanted. I signed every page. Folded them carefully. And whispered to myself, "One day, you'll wonder where I went." I didn't know then. That day would come much sooner than either of us expected. 7 days passed. 7 painfully quiet mornings. 7 lonely nights. Not once did Daniel call. Not once did he ask if I had eaten, slept, or even survived. At first, every vibration from my phone made my heart race. By the 4th day, I stopped checking. By the 7th, I realized something strange. The silence no longer hurt. It healed. Maria noticed the change before I did. "You smiled today," she said while pouring tea. "I did?" She nodded. It was small, but real. For the first time in years, I walked through the garden without wondering whether Daniel approved of the flowers I planted. I read books he hated. Played music too loudly. Cooked food he always complained about. Little by little, the woman I had buried beneath years of pleasing him began to return. Then, everything changed. Maria answered a phone call. Her face hardened. It was him. I looked up. "Daniel?" She nodded. "He asked if you were home." My chest tightened. Not because I missed him, but because I wondered why now. Maria placed the phone on the table without another word. An hour later, another call came. Then another. Finally, Daniel's name flashed again. Maria answered calmly. "Yes, sir." I could hear his voice shouting even from across the room. "Where is she?" Maria remained silent for a moment. Then she replied. "I thought you didn't care." More shouting. She listened patiently before saying, "Sir, you left your wife alone at an airport like unwanted luggage. You sent divorce papers before asking if she was alive. You replaced her before your wedding ring even cooled. So why are you suddenly looking for her?" The house became completely silent. Even I stopped breathing. Maria's expression didn't change. She listened again. Then came the question that froze the room. "What do you mean she's gone?" Maria looked toward me. Our eyes met. A gentle smile appeared on her face. Finally, she answered the question that Daniel would never forget. "Sir, the woman you abandoned no longer lives here. You threw her away. Someone else helped her stand again. And the wife who spent years waiting for you doesn't exist anymore." She ended the call. Without waiting for his reply, I stared at her in disbelief. "What have you done?" Maria squeezed my hand. I gave him the only answer he deserved. Neither of us knew that Daniel was already booking the first flight home. He believed he still had time. He had no idea. Everything had already changed. Daniel landed just before sunrise. For the first time in years, there was no chauffeur waiting for him, no perfectly organized schedule, and no wife answering his calls. He drove straight home. The house looked the same from the outside. Inside, everything felt different. The warmth was gone. The laughter was gone. The woman who had quietly held his world together was gone. Maria opened the door before he could knock twice. She looked at him with disappointment rather than anger. "You finally came." Daniel stepped inside, his eyes searching every corner. "Where is she?" Maria didn't answer. Instead, she handed him a small envelope. "I've been waiting for you." His hands trembled as he opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter. "Dear Daniel, you once told me I would survive without you. You were right. I survived the airport. I survived your betrayal. I survived signing divorce papers addressed to my former wife. The only thing that didn't survive was my love for you. For years, I begged for your attention while forgetting my own worth. Thank you for leaving me. Because the woman you abandoned found the courage to find herself. Don't look for me. You already chose a life without me. Now I'm choosing one without you. Goodbye." Daniel read the letter again. Then again. His vision blurred with tears. He walked into the bedroom. Her clothes were gone. The family photos were gone. The little notes she used to leave on the mirror every morning were gone. Only one thing remained. Their wedding picture. But the frame was empty. Her photograph had been carefully removed. That hurt more than anything. For the first time, he understood what loneliness truly felt like. The expensive promotion meant nothing. The woman he had left with in London had disappeared the moment she realized his reputation, and much of his wealth, had collapsed after a failed business deal. The people who loved his success vanished when the success disappeared. Only then did he remember the one person who had loved him before he had everything. Weeks later, Daniel found out where I was. Not through detectives. Not through friends. He saw my photograph in a local newspaper. I had opened a community center for women rebuilding their lives after abandonment and hardship. In the picture, I wasn't pretending to smile. I was genuinely happy. He stood outside the building for nearly an hour. When I finally walked out, our eyes met. He took one hesitant step forward. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I know," I replied calmly. Can we start over?" I smiled, not with bitterness, but with peace. There was a time when I would have waited forever to hear those words. I looked toward the people inside the center who were laughing, learning, and beginning again. That woman stayed at a cold airport. I didn't. I wished him well, turned around, and walked away without looking back. Daniel remained standing there, holding the apology that had arrived 7 days too late, but a lifetime too late for the woman who had already found her freedom. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't making someone suffer. It's living so fully that they realize they lost the one person who truly loved them, and can never get her back.